Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are podcasting already again. I love it. Week after week, there's no shortage of stuff to talk about. We're going to open it up. I think this one might be it's probably going to end up being like one of the shortest. Okay, I say that now, but I bet you I'm just going to ramble on for like an hour anyways. But I just want to open up and point out real quick that there is a Justice League 2021 preseason power ranking. So I kind of did this last year similarly, where I released like a quote unquote power rankings. It really wasn't power rankings. It was just kind of like a preseason like blurb, about your team that I like wrote. So like just a blurb, and their rankings quote unquote are just based on your draft position. So like Aiden is quote ranked number 1, Tim Tebow's shirtless ranked number 2. Obviously we'll actually get some rankings from the draft, and hopefully those will be provided by Zach Jennings again. I'm hoping he'll come in clutch. So I think that's one of my favorite parts of the year is getting Zach's take on the draft. So maybe we'll have him on the pod, maybe not, but we'll definitely get him to write a little something. So anyways, yeah, it's just a couple sentences. It's on the league manager's note. Aiden's one, Tim Tebow scares me shirtless is 2. The reason I put Aiden was because I'm not sure if he's going to change his name or not, but we'll see. I chase down kids. Then it's Cut My Nuts, then it's Dominus Natural, then it's Sigma JL Grand Set, then it's footchiken, Need a Woman in His Life, then it's New South Charlie Town, then it's Uncle Ron, then it's Applebee's Artichoke Dicks. I did also change my name slightly. So it was like Applebee's Artichoke Dicks, but now it's just Applebee's Artichoke Dicks. I just think it's a little bit better in the context of a team name. I don't know. That's just what I wanted to do. So without further ado, we're just going to step into the NFL preseason. I did drag on for a little bit. Too long last time, I think. So we're just going to kind of breeze through it. And then maybe in today's episode, we can talk about... I'm just going to... This is the worst 15 seconds podcasting ever. Okay. Well, we can talk about the 2021 fantasy draft special. So 2020, there's a draft special. And as you all may know, I think I mentioned this earlier, I used that to my great advantage. They did their draft, and then it was like perfect timing. Like the woman who picked like 7th or 6th, whatever draft pick I had, they flashed her team and showed who she got in each round. And I really, took that to heart. I was like, oh, interesting. So I kind of like used her, picks as like a model of what my picks should look like. So they weren't exactly the same, but I just found them, interesting and useful. And so I unfortunately missed it this year, the special. It came pretty early. I guess it says we're in preseason week 3, but week 1 was really just one game. So we are getting close to the end of preseason. But there's still a long way until football starts. NFL football season doesn't start till September 9th. Anyways, maybe we can go over the fantasy draft special. And I can just point out, the teams that got picked, so whoever's listening can, jot this down, or you can go look at the video, because it's the full video, the 3-hour video is online, but I can still just go over the draft, and I can let you know what I think of their draft picks. So yeah, that can be some fun stuff that we do. So without further ado, I'm gonna try to breach through the preseason as best I can, so that we can get into that later stuff and maybe a little bit more interesting stuff. Anyways, let's jump right in. All All right, NFL preseason starting with Thursday, August 19th. New England Patriots versus Philadelphia Eagles. Patriots smacked up the Eagles. I guess the big takeaway would be Mac Jones' continuance of decency. I wouldn't say excellence. I would just say decency. He was pretty decent. 13 for 19, 146 yards. And then Cam Newton, 8 for 9, 103 yards, 1 touchdown. So maybe Cam Newton's making a comeback. Who knows? Who knows? Chase Winovich had 4 tackles. You'd love to see it. I think there's another. Yeah, Quinn Nordine, this Muppet, this absolute Muppet, bro. I hate this guy. I cannot believe he's playing professional football. He is such a head case. But he, if you don't know, he played at the University of Michigan, and he had an unbelievable first game. He was a true freshman kicker. Unbelievable first game. Made like 2 field goals from like 50 yards out, and then like another long like 40-yard field goal, and was just like totally allowed Michigan to beat Florida in like the preseason game back all the way back in 2017. And then for the rest of his career, he was just an absolute mug. Not necessarily, okay, maybe not the rest of his career. The next couple games weren't bad, but then like he missed a PAT, and then he just totally sucked the rest of his Michigan career. Like, they tried to bring him on. I mean, this was like 4 years. Like, he played last season, I'm like pretty sure. So it was horrible. I hated it. Every time I saw him coming on the field, I hated it. And then he like made 1 field goal, like a really long one. And I was like, oh, like maybe I'll give him a chance. Maybe he'll come back. But nope, he didn't. Also want to point out there's a player called Michael Jackson on the New England Patriots. So that's cool. All right, Eagles. Joe Flacco still sucks. Nick Mullins sucks. Miles Sanders, 2 carries for 13 yards. Good to see him getting touches, I suppose. Because I'm looking for Miles Sanders to maybe get on my team. I don't think it's going to happen, but I wouldn't mind seeing him on my team. Big takeaway, Eagles suck, and I don't think they're going to be good this year. Bengals at the Washington football team. Bengals, Joe Mixon, 2 carries for 4 yards. Hashtag avoid him in the draft. Honestly, like, no one should be drafting Joe Mixon, in my opinion. Like, he should go undrafted. He should go undrafted this season. Do not draft Joe Mixon to your team. T. Higgins had 1 catch for 11 yards. It's something I like to see. Chris Evans, I'm pretty sure, is playing on the Bengals. Or maybe it's the Browns. I don't know. But he was also a former Michigan player. Washington football team, Taylor Heineke, 11 for 13, 80 yards. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 7 for 13, 96 yards. Good to, see him tossing the ball around. Hopefully he has a good season, because that'll make everyone else have a good season. Antonio Gibson, 7 carries for 28 yards. Decent. Not the best, but decent. It looks like they want to run a lot, though, because Jarrett Patterson got 16 carries for 71 yards and touchdowns. So that's promising concerning Antonio Gibson's workload. He also had 2 catches for 19 yards. Okay, so they want to use him in the passing game too. Interesting. Terry McLaurin had 1 catch for 5 yards, but I still think Terry McLaurin's worth drafting. I don't think that's indicative of anything. No one else I'm seeing important. Perfect. Let's move on. So that was a Friday game. We'll go to the next Friday game, which was Chiefs versus Cardinals. Patrick Mahomes, 10 for 18, 78 yards, 1 interception. Not great. Not great. And I think, did I say this? I think I might have said it earlier, episodes 1 or 2 of the podcast. Hey, that Patrick Mahomes turf, though, might hurt him. So am I Nostradamus? I don't know. All right, he had 2 carries for 10 yards, though. So I'm sure he's still relatively mobile. Big thing I want to point out is Jerick McKinnon, 3 receptions for 21 yards, even though he is a running back and his running game wasn't prolific, 3 carries for 4 yards. I still want to draft him, like really late, probably like round 16. But I'd like to see Jerick McKinnon on my team. He's a really good, really talented player. So if he gets some touches, maybe he can make it a boom on the Chiefs. And, maybe if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is like injured a week or whatever, maybe he'll be, they're up there in the depth chart. All right, Cardinals. Colt McCoy back out there for the Cardinals. Unfortunately, threw an interception. 13 for 18, 113 yards, but that's better than Patrick Mahomes. So who's the real king? Colt McCoy is. Colt McCoy also had 3 rushes for 20 yards. Better than Patrick Mahomes. So Colt McCoy is obviously getting drafted to my team. I want him on my team. Matt Prater is playing for the Cardinals. Did not know that. Why did Detroit Lions release Matt Prater? Was he starting to suck or something? Anyways, Chiefs end up winning 17-10. Doesn't really matter. Preseason game. But it is a little bit weird that Cardinals couldn't score anything. But, Murray's not out there. Kyler Murray, who's also a great player. So, cha-cha-cha. All right, what's going on? Let's keep cruising with these preseason football games. All right, we're picking it up Saturday, August 21st. Bills, Bears, Trubisky, revenge game. And he gets it done. 20 for 28, 220 yards, 1 touchdown. Everyone, draft Mitch Trubisky. Because if Josh Allen goes down, you're going to have a diamond in the rough. It's also good to see Zach Moss with those 4 carries for 21 yards, averaging 5.2 yards per carry. That's what I like to see. And Isaiah McKenzie and Gabriel Davis. I think those guys might be worth drafting. Even though they did get Emmanuel Sanders, I think Sanders may be a little bit washed. Justin Fields is trash. He's trash. That's what it comes down to. Don't draft him. Flipping my statement. Said he was good last week. Calling him trash this week. So what are you going to do about that? Alrighty, let's move on. Jets, Packers. Do I really care? I guess Zach Wilson, unlike Justin Fields, not trash. So draft Zach Wilson because Jets are about to go off. And then nothing to report from the Packers side. Falcons, Dolphins. Biggest news here was my boy, AJ McCarron. He tore his ACL, which is sad. I didn't want him to tear his ACL. Oh well. Tua Tagovailoa, he's sick. Jacoby Brissett, 8 for 8, 99 yards and 1 touchdown. Perfect stat line. Myles Gaskin getting a lot of good touches in there, some good receiving yards, some good rushing yards. So we'll see if ESPN bumps his ADP back up, which I think it should be because he should not be 92. He will be much better than that. All right, moving on. Ravens, Panthers. I'm just gonna pass. I don't even care what happened in that game. Steelers, Lions. I'm gonna pass on this one. Actually, let's look at Najee Harris. Najee Harris, 4 carries for 10 yards. Najee Harris is confirmed trash. Ignore his receiving stats. So don't draft Najee Harris if you want to have a good fantasy football season. Titans, Tampa Bay. Skip. Texans, Cowboys. Skip. Colts, Vikings is a skip. Raiders, Rams. I'm almost thinking about skipping that one. Just looking to see if there's anything worth looking at. Bryce Perkins is a beast. 26. They have had 40. Wow. They're really giving him a shot at it. He rushed 9 times for 41 yards. All right. So Stafford's going to get some good action. Alrighty, Broncos, Seahawks. Drew Lock. He's a lock in the draft. Draft him. Javonte Williams is not a lock. 7 carries for 20 yards. You trash, bro. You straight trash. Anyone worth looking at on Seahawks? Not really. Giants, Browns, 17-13. Mike Glennon, 10 for 13, 86 yards. Brian Lewerke. There you guys go, all you Michigan State fans. He's getting some preseason game time. 5 for 8, 47 yards, and a passing touchdown. Look at him go. 3 carries for 27 yards. You know what? Good for you, Brian Lewerke. Good for you. Do I care about anyone on the Browns? Not really. 49ers, Chargers, 15-10. Trey Lance, 102 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jimmy G. So is Trey Lance going to be like their starter? Is that like what's going to happen? Or we just don't know? I guess we just don't know. Deebo Samuel, 1 reception for 9 yards. Did not know that they had Mohamed Sanu. Interesting. All right, Chargers. Do I care? Not really. Not really. Yeah, none of their starters are really out there. Alrighty, there's one more game to go. Jaguars, Saints. I'm just going to pass. I don't care. I guess it depends on how Trevor Lawrence does. But that's tonight. That's on Monday. So I recorded this on Monday, this portion. Giving away my secrets. So that's that. Preseason completed. Any other notes that I wanted to say? Oh yeah, Jets are probably going to be 0-16 this year because they're winning all their preseason games. Lions, they're 0-2 to start, so they're going to be fine. You know, all the good teams are 0-2 right now, so don't be worried. Just skipped a lot of games. But yeah, I kind of think Drew Lock might be the next Josh Allen. Just going to say it. You know, Josh Allen's third year, he went off. This is Drew Lock's third year. He could go off. Just saying. Alrighty, thanks for getting through that with me. It only took 10 minutes this time. Didn't take a whole half hour. So I hope you guys are happy. We can move on to some more good stuff, some better stuff as we go along. Alrighty, let's keep it running. All right. I'm calling an audible. I do just want to briefly mention the Jaguars Saints 23-21. Jaguars lost. Trevor Lawrence had an okay performance. Gardner Minshew didn't do great. But the big thing is Travis Etienne is indefinitely out. So that's a big loss for the draft. That's a big player who's gone. But that also opens a window to those who might like James Robinson to go out there and snag James Robinson and grab him. So I'm bummed because I was definitely targeting Travis Etienne. It's not a huge loss, but it is going to cause me to lose some depth in the running back position. So just point that out. Also, I 1,100% want James Winston on my team. I hope he becomes starter because I think although he may throw some interceptions, I think he could have one of the best fantasy seasons just because of how crazy he is and how he can put up so many points and all that stuff. Okay, getting into the real juice of what we're talking about today, which actually I don't even know what else I'm going to talk about really, but we'll get something juicy going. So we'll actually talk about this this Reddit post that Matthew sent to me and inquired that I should look at. And I did like that. It was interesting. So the title of the post is, "Am I alone in thinking that 4-point passing touchdown is a stone age scoring setting?" It goes, "Gone are the days where the statues like Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, and Drew Brees are the top QBs in fantasy." And then he talks about how good passing quarterbacks don't have much fantasy value because they don't rush. And in a 6-point passing touchdown setting, a rushing touchdown isn't any more valuable than a passing touchdown. But also, a QB has to rush for 6 yards to equal 1 passing touchdown. So a 6-point passing touchdown allows pure pocket passers to complete with the top rushing QBs. It makes no sense to me that Jalen Hurts has a higher ceiling in 4-point than Tom Brady just because he runs the ball, which is not inherently more valuable in real-life football. So as a whole, I do think it's an interesting proposition, boosting that back up, and I think he's got a point to be made. I think his point is interesting, and there's definitely some substance there and some thought put behind it, obviously. But I would say it doesn't matter anymore because there are so many quarterbacks in the league now that can use their legs, that have good wheels, that no one's going to draft quarterbacks like Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees. I mean, if you're planning on drafting Ben Roethlisberger or who's the other guy? Matt Ryan or help me out. Who are some other passing QBs? I guess Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. I just think that's maybe a little bit foolish. Like I think you adapt the players that you draft rather than adapt the scoring. That's kind of my opinion. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to trying the 6-point passing touchdown. But I just think that all the up-and-coming QBs in the league will also all have the ability to run. So, I mean, we're entering a phase where, like, we're definitely in, like, a transitional period where a 4-point passing touchdown is seeming kind of obsolete. But I don't think that there needs to be an adjustment because, like, in a short period of time, you know, the top QBs in leagues are going to be Justin Fields, Tua, Baker, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson. He's been a staple. He can rush. Dak Prescott, Lamar, Kyler Murray. So, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. At least 12 of the, like, up-and-coming QBs all have good rushing ability. And I don't know if I somewhat disagree that. So he ends with saying, just because he runs, which is not inherently more valuable in real life football. I kind of disagree with that. I mean, if it wasn't more valuable, then we wouldn't be seeing a large shift from pure pocket passers to rushing QBs in the league. Like, people want a QB that's mobile because it makes all the difference. I mean, Matt Stafford is great and all, but he's not mobile whatsoever. He can barely run. And I mean, yeah, he's got all the other great qualities of a quarterback. He can whip it and he can do all that, but he's not mobile. And that's what makes Patrick Mahomes so much better than him. Is because Patrick Mahomes has all the qualities of a Matt Stafford, but he can run. He's mobile. He can run. He can make plays on his feet. He can keep the play alive. So that is inherently better to have than Matt Stafford. So, I guess if we're going to try this would be the year to try it, you know, in the transition this year or next year or the year after, when there's still kind of this transition of pure pocket passers to fully mobile. But I don't know. I'm not really looking to make any more changes in the fantasy league right now. I think we're just going to keep it how it is for the rest of the season so far. I think we've made some good changes for this year that are going to be exciting and fun. And so, I don't know. I just don't really want to introduce, you know, a mega amount of changes. I think it'd be a little bit better if, like, we did, you know, the changes that we have this year, and then over the off season we can discuss, you know, some more changes like the 6-point, and then if the playoffs doesn't work out this year well, then we can change that. And then I also want to mention another I thought this is a cool idea by Matthew, is the idea you can keep, like, it's kind of like a dynasty league where you can keep a player that you drafted last year on your team, but you lose that draft position. So you can keep him on your team. You're guaranteed that player for next year, but you lose that draft spot. So I'm not sure how we'd regulate that. I think we'd maybe have to do like an offline draft or something. But I think that's a cool idea that might be worth trying. And we can talk about that a little bit more. And then there's also been other good, ideas introduced and other ways that we could take league. But I think for now, we're just going to keep the rules the same. But it's all good stuff to keep an eye on and all that stuff. We're a bit of a traditional. So I'm looking at these comments and they're just all about edited scoring rules and stuff like that. And I guess I'm just kind of a traditionalist. Like I don't mind the, I like the lineup of one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, a defense, and a kicker. I think it makes sense. It's a fun team. It's a good way to play, and it's still fun. It's like this guy was just like, oh, standard scoring is so boring for me now. So I'm gonna move on. But definitely drop a comment if anything I said in that you've got something that you want to respond to or you disagree with my view. Alrighty, thank you. Alrighty, so I think this might be my last podcast before the draft, because our draft is now pretty much a week away. When this comes out, the draft will be 1 week away, which is super exciting. And so I guess I'm thinking my plan is this is going to be my last podcast. It's going to come out, Friday, the 27th. Yep, Friday the 27th. And our draft is on September 4th. So I don't know what I would squeeze in. Because, I guess I could go over the preseason games from that last weekend, but I don't know what I'd squeeze into that final draft, pre-draft speech. I think it'd just be better to let the draft happen and then get back on and do a post-draft podcast. But I also am planning on changing my schedule of when I release this, because Friday, in the fantasy sense, doesn't really make much sense to release an episode on Friday. So maybe I could, do 2 episodes a week, like one on Monday and one on Friday. I feel like that would make a little bit more sense. But I think it just makes more sense, or like Tuesday. But I think it just makes more sense to release one on Tuesday, after the fantasy week has wrapped up. Because, we play from Thursday until Monday night. And then Tuesday is when everything, settles and the ESPN, loads the winners and all that stuff. And so maybe I'd actually do it on Wednesday because of content. And it would just make it a little bit easier for me to record and to get all the content out there. So this one would mean this podcast is going to be the last JFL podcast until until the 1st of September. Would that make sense? Yeah, the 1st of September. Because then I'd start, weekly. So I'd do September, I would do like a little draft recap, and then that would be a long podcast. That's going to be like a super long podcast, because that's going to be a draft recap and then a preview of the first week. And then the next week, I'd do but the preview is just going to be short, I think. Well, the preview, maybe I'll make it long because we'll have some, I don't know. And then on September the 8th, I'll do, a recap of week 1 and stuff like that. And so I guess that's my, idea is, I'd be basically leaving out, I would no longer be writing the weekly recap. Maybe I would write it, but maybe I'd only do, a couple sentences rather than, maybe, a paragraph. I'd just keep it one sentence or whatever. And then week 2, and then Yeah, and then I'd do my weekly recap on the podcast. Like, maybe go over the power rankings. I'd still release the power ranking. The power rankings would still be a written thing, but maybe I could, like, explain a little bit some of my choices a little bit more in depth. Something like that. Or at least just go over the week and talk about what happened. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what I get inspired by. But anyways, I got a little off topic. So, as I was saying, this is the last podcast before the draft. And so what I didn't know is that the draft podcast, or the draft, already came out. The ESPN draft special, the special that I loved so much last year that I was able to glean some of or get some help off of. It happened. It happened on August 21st, I think. Okay, ESPN doesn't show when it happened, but it happened on August 21st. It was a premiere on YouTube. I'm pretty sure it was live on YouTube. I don't know if they did it live on TV. But anyways, they had some teams. And actually, this year, like, maybe it's just because I've done so many more, mock drafts or whatever, and I've already got, like, a team in mind that I, think is good and that I like, that when they flashed these guys' teams on the screen, I was no longer, like, full confidence of them. I was questioning, why they made their choices and who they chose. So I just want to run through them. Dang, it's like way at the end here. I thought it was closer to the beginning. Let's see. Okay, round 1, pick 3. Where's round 1, pick 1? Team selection. Maybe they're still picking. I don't know. I thought I knew the timestamps for this, but I suppose I didn't. Okay, here we go. Alrighty, so first overall pick in the draft, Team Tyler. Don't know what his first or last name is, but that's his name. Don't wear it out. He picked Christian McCaffrey first overall. In round 2, his second pick was Joe Mixon. I guess, that's the other problem, is, like, I haven't been drafting at these positions, so I feel like I shouldn't be making judgments on this, but I just don't see how Joe Mixon is a good pick. Like, I feel like there's got to be another player up on the board that you could go for that's better. I see their strategy. Like, I do like their strategy. I like the idea of what they did, because they went running back, tight end, wide receiver, QB, wide receiver, running back. And I genuinely think that's a good, like, first 6 picks. Like, that's what most people should be, I think, targeting for their opening picks. And so they went Christian McCaffrey, round 1, pick 1. Joe Mixon, round 2, pick 20. Darren Waller, round 3, pick 21. I think that's a good opening 3 minus Joe Mixon. Just because Joe Mixon is such a muppet. But he might actually have a good year this year. I don't know. But I wouldn't waste my hope on that. Cooper Kupp, they picked in round 4 with pick 40. And then Josh Allen, round 5, pick 41. So I think those are another 2 really solid picks, Cooper Kupp and Josh Allen. I'd want them on my team. Obviously, I talked about the Rams, whatever, and Mike Tannenbaum's problems with him, but I'd still pick him. Jamar Chase, he picked in round 6, and then Mike Davis in round 7. I'd be avoiding Mike Davis personally, but hey, who am I to talk? Alright, this is just, I guess I'm doing this so that, like, if you want some guidance, go to the ESPN 2021 ESPN Fantasy Football Draft, Fantasy Draft Prep Live. Look that up on YouTube and go to the minute mark around 3 hours and 35 minutes, I suppose. That's when they start showing these. So, around this second person to pick, Team Mina. This was the chica that I liked so much last year. We had the same pick and the same idea. So she got Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Hopkins, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Julio Jones, Mark Andrews, Tyler Lockett, Dak Prescott. So that was her round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 picks. Dak Prescott in round 7. Sorry, Dak Prescott in round 7 is not too shabby, I don't think. I guess it just depends on when he's coming back from his injury. So I guess that's a good thing about our draft is we're going to be a little bit more clear on some of these injuries and, who's going to be starting, what the depth chart looks like. So I guess that's the bonus of drafting a little bit later. But just if you need tips, whoever's second overall, I think it's Alex, unfortunately, so he probably won't be listening. But if you are listening, Alex, definitely follow Team Mina's instructions. I mean, she helped me win the fantasy championship last year. She did a great job. So that's that. All right, now we're moving into territory, some interesting territory. So we're moving into Zach. Zach, Team Stefania. She was third overall pick, same pick as you. So she got Derrick Henry at number 3, then took Najee Harris in the second round, George Kittle third, Robert Woods in the fourth round. She took Mahomes in the fifth round. So, Zach, Mahomes is looking good for you. He's opening up. You might have a chance to get Mahomes if that's something that interests you. Then T. Higgins and Javonte Williams. I'm a big T. Higgins guy, so I think that's a great pick. I'm a big Javonte Williams guy. Not big, but I'm looking to get him. So I also think that's a good pick. So Zach, that sounds like a pretty killer team to me. I mean, your team would look like this. You'd have Patrick Mahomes at QB, Derrick Henry and Najee Harris as your RB1 and RB2, Robert Woods and T. Higgins as your wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2, George Kittle and tight end, and then Javonte Williams in your flex. Like that sounds pretty spot on to me. So third overall is looking like a double decent pick this year. If Zach ends up with a team like that, I'd definitely be afraid. All right, fourth overall, Adam Schefter took Dalvin Cook, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Mike Evans, Kyler Murray, Travis Etienne, Robert Tonyan. So this is a very wide receiver heavy team, but he's got like 3 of the best wide receivers in the league on his team. Unfortunately, we know Travis Etienne now has an injury, so you might want to be avoiding him. But he's also got one of the top QBs in Kyler Murray in round 5. So he's got it would have been great if Travis Etienne didn't get injured, but now, his RB2 spot is open, so he'd probably rely on some schmuck in the 8th or 9th round for his draft. Okay, moving on. Team Field. Yates Field. Or Field Yates. I think that's his name. He took Kelsey. They skipped pick 5, I think. They did skip pick 5, so maybe Matthew Berry's pick 5. Okay, so he took Travis Kelce, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, Brandon Ayuk, Aaron Rodgers. I think this guy was on the right path until he took Josh Jacobs. No way he should be taking Josh Jacobs. Like, he's kind of a mug. I wouldn't take Josh Jacobs. But the rest of those players are fantastic. Like Travis Kelce, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk as your catching core. That's incredible. Aaron Rodgers, another great QB. The only reason I wouldn't take Aaron Rodgers, even though he's a professional and I'm sure he's going to, play well for the Packers, is all the controversy with him and the Packers. That's the only reason I wouldn't take him. Like maybe like it boils over or whatever and he gets benched, or he just decides to, sit out some games for some reason. So that would be my only concern. Well, not my only concern. I think Josh Jacobs is not a great RB2. I wouldn't want him in my RB2. Okay, we're moving. We're chugging along. So pick 7, Eckler. Wow. He took Eckler round 1. So this guy went Eckler round 1, then Calvin Ridley, then Keenan Allen, then Chris Carson, Lamar Jackson, Noah Fant, Robbie Anderson. This is what my team looks like. My team at the 10th pick. This is exactly what my team has been looking like. Besides Calvin Ridley, I don't have the option for Calvin Ridley. But I've usually been picking Keenan Allen, Chris Carson. I don't usually pick Lamar Jackson, but he's usually open for me. I definitely don't take Noah Fant. I definitely don't take Noah Fant in round 6. So maybe these guys are playing in a PPR league, or they're making their PPR squads or whatever. And then Robbie Anderson in round 7. That's pretty much what happens to me too. All right, we're keeping going. Team Mike. This guy was in pick pick spot 8, he took Saquon, then Tyreek, Justin Jefferson, Miles Sanders, Adam Thielen, Logan Thomas, Justin Herbert. That's like a pretty dangerous team. I mean, it depends on how Barkley does this year, but Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson combo, that's a great combo. Miles Sanders, I think, is a decent RB2. Adam Thielen's a good wide receiver to have, in your pocket. I think he'd be sitting this guy's flex spot, though, which I would be worried about. And then Logan Thomas at tight end. Don't know enough about Logan Thomas, really, but I feel like pick number 53 seems really high. And then Justin Herbert round 7's a value pick for sure. We're trying to squeeze them all in. We're trying to get them all in. Alrighty. Pick number 9. So this is Aaron. This is you. Guy goes Jonathan Taylor, then Aaron Jones, then DeAndre Swift, Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, Deontay Johnson, Myles Gaskin. This is basically the same strategy that I have. Running back, wide receiver. That's pretty much the same opening strategy I've been going after. I have been toying with, some other strats, but this one just gives me the team that I feel is most solid. So I kind of agree with his strat and going RB, wide receiver. And then he goes another wide receiver. He picks Chris Godwin. I had Chris Godwin on my team last year, and I wouldn't be picking him again, just because of how extensive that Bucs wide receiving core is. It's a little, you're not guaranteed to get a lot of points every week because Chris Godwin only might get a couple looks that week because, they've got Antonio Brown and Gronk and the other dude, Mike Evans. Deontay Johnson is also not a wide receiver that excites me that much. So Allen Robinson's a great pick, though. Alrighty, we're chugging along. I'm just trying to point out, say these picks so maybe you can jot them down and keep them in mind as like a reference of what the experts had and maybe what you should be, thinking about the strategy-wise, and then also the player names that you should be looking at that are going to be available to you in these different rounds. Excuse me. So, pick 10, where I'm going to be sitting Team Anita. She goes Antonio Gibson, Devontae Adams, J.K. Dobbins, Darrell Henderson, Cortland Sutton, Kyle Pitts, Odell Beckham. I understand why she wants Devontae Adams. I understand. But I just might be passing on Devontae Adams. I just think it's more safe to go running back. Even though last year I didn't go running back. But because I've got the 10th pick this year, I think it makes more sense to go running back. I think there are a couple more running backs in the later rounds that were available to me that were good and that I knew I could trust. Like Chris Carson and John Taylor and Raheem Mostert. I got them all in pretty late rounds. So they were all running backs that I was looking at my chops. I thought they were great running backs. But this year in my later rounds, those running backs aren't available. Those running backs that got me licking my chops aren't available. So that's why I feel like I need to front load my running backs this year and leave kind of the wide receiver position open in the late rounds. So I kind of disagree with her, but I respect her decision. I'd want J.K. Dobbins on my team this year too, for sure. I definitely want J.K. Dobbins. I don't think he's going to be there for me, though. I definitely want to pick Darrell Henderson Jr., just because I don't think he's explosive. But I could be completely wrong about that. So anyways, there you go. Just a little draft recap before our draft recap. I think I might keep this episode a little bit shorter, so we're running close to what I want to wrap up, but hopefully you were able to jot down the picks in your draft spot, except for whoever picks number 5. I'm sorry that they didn't go over that. Maybe they're going to leave it for the end. Let me skip ahead a little bit right here. Okay, yeah, they do leave it for the end. Team Matthew. So Matthew Berry, these are his picks. His picks go Zeke, Nick Chubb, Terry McLaurin, Amari Cooper, TJ Hawkinson, DJ Moore, Russell Wilson. I don't think Nick Chubb is going to be available that late in round 2. But otherwise, obviously, Matthew just picked a bomb team or a fire team because he's Matthew Berry. He's super genius. All right, so hopefully we're able to jot those down. If you want to watch the whole thing or at least some of the thing, I recommend maybe the first hour and then the last half an hour, because like the middle part is them drafting, and I don't know if that's worth watching. Like, that's 2 hours, so I would maybe consider skipping it. Just because I feel like it'd be a little tedious to listen to every single person, talk for like 2 minutes about every single pick they're making. Like, that's just a little too much, in my opinion. But if that's something that interests you, definitely hop on it. All right. Since this is going to be the last podcast before the draft, I just wanted to, well, first of all, there is a breaking news. We mentioned it already, but it's slightly changed. So the news was that Travis Etienne had a indefinite injury, but now he's officially been placed on season-ending IR. So he is done. He is done. Excuse me. He's out of the draft. No one's drafting him. James Robinson might be worth drafting. I don't know. I don't know if he'd be worth drafting, really. So I guess do with that what you will. And that was the news, is that he's on season-ending IR rather than just like an indefinite injury. I don't know if that's much different, but I guess it's just like confirmed. Like, don't even think about drafting him. So yeah. All right. So that was probably the last bit of news that I'm gonna pump out before our draft. So there's still, one more week of preseason games. So I guess I just recommend go over them, look at the stats. I guess another big thing is Justin Fields was named, not the starter. So he's not going to start week 1. So if you're thinking about drafting him, I'd say don't waste a draft pick. Just, pick him up after week 1 or before week 1 off the waivers. Excuse me, that was a big yawn. But yeah, we have one more, week left. Like, go through all the games, just look at the stats, make some judgments for your own. You know how I feel about most of these players. Najee Harris is trash. Zach Wilson's a beast. Jameis Winston's a beast. So if you really want to risk it and, not get a solid quarterback, which I'm thinking I might do now, because my draft strategy, like, I kind of edited my draft strategy. I was thinking I might want to get a quarterback in round 5, but pretty much all the mock drafts that I'm doing, I'm not sure how you guys feel about quarterbacks, but pretty much all the quarterbacks are going in round 5. So I don't know if that's too early for you. Not all the quarterbacks, all the good quarterbacks, like all the really explosive ones. That is to say, Mahomes, Allen, Murray, and then sometimes Prescott. So I think my strategy might just depend. Like, I might just be, drafting like a rookie QB just for giggles. But it's probably a stupid decision. I might be going back to classic old, 2015, 2016, 2017 Johnny drafting 3 quarterbacks just to, I don't know, have some quarterbacks on my team. Because I feel like round like 13 and 14, like, excuse me again, I feel like those quarterbacks, or those players, like those wide receivers, running backs, tight ends that you pick up, like, they don't do anything. They never do anything. They never, like, anything significant. You know what I mean? So, that's what it is. Good luck. I do want to just mention one more thing before I sign off. I do have a little bit more time, but one more thing I want to, go through is I'm surprised, maybe I've talked about this, but we've got 14 games. So we've got 14 games. this season. So it's a good thing I'm starting to keep stats so that we can, kind of look at the stats and we've got Matthew's stats sheet as well. But this could be like an unprecedented year for like our stats are probably going to look off the charts because of this added game. Like there's there's the possibility for the most 10-win seasons like ever. Like I don't know, does that make sense to you guys? Like there's just an extra game. So all those 9-win seasons that we've had in the past, they could be boosted up to 10-win seasons. So like we could have the most 10+ win seasons we've had in this league is 2, and that was a 2015. It says that it's usually just one person breaking 10, but now there's just a whole new possibility, and so I think that'll be exciting. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but I made a little possibility for like a payouts thing. So hopefully y'all are still listening. If you're not, please tune back in, hear me out. So we've got 9 people. I'm probably not going to hound Alex to pay $25. We've got 9 people paying $25. So we've got a pot of $225. So what I drew up right here is that the champion will make $75. Second place makes $30. And third place makes $25. And I just wanted the emphasis to be on the champion. I wanted the emphasis to be on the Justice League champion, because I think that should carry emphasis. So they win their $75, and then second place gets like $30. Like they can buy an extra candy bar. Like they get their money back and they buy an extra candy bar, and then third place just breaks even, which I think is what third place should do. And then to finish it out, I've got the Dwight Army of Champions winner makes $40, and the loser Slackoffs Like Jim winner makes $20. So I think that's kind of cool. It would be interesting if we have a tie though, because we might have to split the pot. But I think that would also help put emphasis on having a good regular season. I'm not sure what you guys think, but I think that'd be, it'd put emphasis on playing well in your division and having a good regular season, because you still got that potential. I don't know if we want more emphasis or not, but I think that's something to think about. And then also, there's a little bit of recoup. You can recoup some of your money if you qualify for the DAC. So, I made that $7, and that all comes out to $225. So the 5 teams that qualify for the Dwight Army of Champions, they get, $7. And so basically, the champion, second, and third place, they basically get their money plus $7. And then, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea, but I think there should be, a little bit more incentive to finish in the DA's Dwight Army of Champions. Like right now, it's just a little bragging rights, and it kind of makes more sense to throw and get into the Justice or Loser Slackoffs Like Jim, because, you can get a better draft pick for next season. So there's kind of some incentive to throw. So I'm hoping that maybe like the $7 probably isn't enough incentive to not throw, so maybe I could find a new way to redo that. But let me know. Okay, so basically I'm going to recoup champion. If you want to write this down, champion. It's also in the Justice 2021 fantasy football drive, which is in the Justice League fantasy football drive, which hopefully everyone has access to. If you don't have access to, let me know, and I will send a link to the group chat again. Okay, so write this down. Champion gets 75, second place gets 30, third place gets 25. That totals to $130. Then the Dwight Army of Champions winner, the division winner, gets $40. The loser Slackoffs Like Jim winner gets $20. And that totals $60. I guess the other thing, and then qualified for Dwight Howard Champions, $7. So that's 5 people. 7 times 5 is $35. That totals $225. So I guess the other thing is that, like maybe, you know, I don't know. Maybe like we just don't give. Well, no, it wouldn't make sense to not give money to second and third place. I feel like that's got to get some money. But I just think, I guess this is where Matthew's like, if we do more money, we can pay better. Because, like, I mean, in a way, like, would the loser slack off? Like, Jim Renner really want that $20? Because they're really only going to recoup their $25. But I don't know. But I mean, if they win the loser slack off like Jim, I feel like they're pretty much headed on their way back to the Dwight Army of Champions. So they would recoup their money and, you know, make $2 or whatever. I don't know if $2 is much worth it in their eyes, but I guess it would just be a recoup of their money, something still to play for, you know. So write that down. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment. And we can keep working on that. Oh, and then, shoot, I closed out of it, but I want to go back to it. And then one last thing is, I thought it might be fun or funny. The only problem, well, I'll say it first, is you know how, I think I sent this to you guys, but I made like some odds winners for who was going to win the league. And I just think it'd be funny if, like, we had people, you know, toss their bets in on that. Like, we had people bet on who they think's going to win the league, and then we had people bet on, like, the Dwight Howard Champions winner, people bet on the loser stock house, like, Jim winner, and then maybe, like, the over-unders for points totals and wins totals. I think that would be funny. And then we had people bet on that, and then the money that they lose would go into the payouts. I mean, obviously I'm not a Vegas odds maker, so my odds could be completely off, and like I could be completely screwing myself over here with, you know, the odds that I made or whatever, because I just kind of made them. I just threw them out there. And then maybe like we could, you know, just do like simple like money line bets or whatever for like each game, week in, week out, and then whatever money is left at the end of the season. But again, I mean, I don't know if you guys would want to bet on a fantasy football game. I'm not that, you know, attracted to betting on a fantasy football game. But if that's something that you guys wanted to do just for fun, and then it would also help in the sense that, like, if people, you know, bet and lost, we would use that money. Like, that money wouldn't just go to me. It would go to the, you know, the fantasy football league pot. So at the end of the season, we'd have more money to pay out with. So yeah, that was just another idea. So what was I talking about before? The 14 games? Yeah, I just think that that's going to lead to, you know, some unprecedented, you know, happenings. Like, we might see our highest scorer ever. Someone might finally be able to top Connor's 1,400 points in 2018, which I think could be exciting. We've got the potential for, yeah, not only 10-win seasons, but, you know, 11-win seasons might be a little bit easier, because we have had 10-win seasons, and so those guys that, you know, have had 10-win seasons, they're now eligible to get that 11th win. So there could be some really unprecedented and cool, you know, end-of-season stats that we see coming out from this extended game. And I'm just trying to think about playoffs. Does it make it better for playoffs or worse? I feel like adding a game doesn't really hinder us that much, but you just have to be clutch for, you know, one more game to make sure you make it in. Playoff percentage. Interesting. I don't know what that means, but I'm just looking at the standings right now, and it says playoff percentage. Alrighty, well, getting close to closing time, so before our draft, I mean, this is the start of fantasy. Like, the next time I see you guys, fantasy will be in full swing. Well, I guess not. Well, pretty much. I mean, the game, because I'm thinking, you know, I'm going to release the episode next Wednesday. Not this one, but the next one. And the first football game is going to be that day. So fantasy, after the month that I've been doing this podcast for or longer, we'll finally have it. So I think it's been a fun build-up. I think I've definitely stretched it out too long. I got to control myself next summer. Probably only do 3 pre-draft podcasts because it's a bit much. But I've been excited, and I'm excited to get started for the season. So you know what? Good luck with your drafts. I hope we can get everyone there in the draft or on Zoom. Draft day is September 4th at 7:30 p.m. I think. So again, drop a comment if that's a problem. We can always change it up. At least change the time. I think hopefully everyone's knowing that it's September 4th. I might drop a comment in the group chat. But anyways, good luck drafting. I hope you like your teams, and I will see you on the other side. Don't go changing. Good luck.